Welcome to the National Park Service's Preservation Briefs. I'm glad you're with us today. We're going to be talking about the Preservation Briefs, which are real simply a written up description of best practices. That's how you do things well and do it right in regard to historic homes and buildings across the country. Now, these preservation briefs were written by some of the top preservation professionals from coast to coast in this country, and they are really great information. One of the things that we know, though, is that sometimes people need a little bit of a visual. So we have decided to shoot some preservation briefs on video so that you can get the basic gist of how it all works. Now, once you watch one of these, you're going to be able to go to nps.gov and you're going to be able to read the full brief. And with all that information, you're going to be a better consumer of historic houses and buildings. So let's go do it. Welcome to Preservation Brief number 9, the repair of historic wooden windows. Now, wooden windows in old houses like this one, which was built sometime after the turn of the 20th century, are really important to the look of the house. They are a character-defining feature that you just don't want to get rid of. And oftentimes these windows have been in use for 100, 150, or even 200 years, depending on what part of the country that you came from. Now, these particular windows have an aluminum lumberyard grade storm window on the outside. Now, not my favorite. Aluminum conducts heat and cold, but today there are really good manufacturers out there that make aluminum storms that have air gaps in the frames, and we're seeing them more on commercial buildings all the time and on the exterior. Interior storms are a bit problematic. I'll talk to you about that a little bit more in a minute. But the truth is that these windows were protected originally by wooden shutters. Now, I know what we have here are non-operational vinyl shutters. The good news is that can be changed. That's the basic tenet in preservation, is do no harm, and that can be reversed. Bottom line is, these windows are in really, really good shape because they have been protected by a storm. It also gives a little thermal capability for the house itself. So these are original windows to the house. And here's that aluminum storm I was showing you. Interior storms as opposed to exterior storms can be a solution, especially if you have casement windows that open to the outside. Then you're going to need an interior storm because you can't put one on the outside, because when you open the windows, it'll hit the storms. The problem with interior storms is that they tend to create more condensation between the primary window sash and the storm, and you can't operate your windows because you can't get to the window sashes. While the window sashes are in really good shape because of the storm, there's no weep hole down here at all, and that can cause serious rot. Now, right here we seem to be all right. I'm coming, wait a minute. Oh, geez, look at that. That's what, I don't know, at least 2 inches in and deeper. So there's some serious rot right here that's going to have to be addressed. But the sashes themselves have been protected over time, and you can see the putty's in excellent condition. And this putty is not new. This putty has been here a long, long time. You can expect putty to last 25 to 40 years, depending on whether you protect the sash, like this is, with a storm. Now, this particular storm, like I said before, is an aluminum one that you would typically see at the lumberyard, but it's doing a great job of protecting the window. You can also see up here in the divided lights, that's the different panes of glass that are divided by these wood grids, which are actually called muntins. And these muntins have depth and texture. And you cannot go to a window replacement company and buy a window off the shelf that will have the depth and texture of this window that's been in service for so many years, about over 100 years in this particular case. You just can't do it. And to reproduce this window such that it would look like the original would cost way more than the restoration or repair of the window if it was in bad shape. So, it's a cost analysis you need to go through. Oftentimes people think that they need to replace their windows, and in truth, with about $35 worth of weather stripping and some basic repairs, you don't need to replace your windows, and you'll get the same thermal capability, stop air infiltration with a good storm, wooden, aluminum, those are the two basic types of storms. And if you do that, you're going to be way ahead of the game, both architecturally, for your house, and for your pocketbook. Old windows are really hard to open sometimes, and this one is no less. Oh boy, that's rough. and the putty's falling off, and all the paint's coming off. It's just a mess. If we look up here, you can see this is called the meeting rail, or some people call the check rail, where the two sashes meet in the middle. And you can see that the paint's coming off. The sash lock is broken. I'm going to check it for rot. And rot is really a big issue, especially on the bottom rail. And in this particular sash, we're actually in pretty good shape. We don't have a lot of rot, and that's a testament to old growth wood. This is made with wood from trees that were 150, 200 years old, and they just don't exist anymore. You can't buy a window that's as good as this. So the other thing that you're going to find in most old windows is that the ropes are broken, and everybody is all freaked out about the ropes being broken and the cavity in here. But if you do a good caulk job on the outside of your house and you get your casings on here, well, there's no air infiltration through here, and air infiltration is your primary issue. Right here, we have a screw that shows where a pocket was, and that is the cover to the weight pocket, and that just comes right off, and you can access your weights and replace your ropes. It's not a big deal. Well, everybody seems to get really tuned up about their windows, but don't get tuned up about them. You can repair your historic windows, you can weatherize them, you can even do complete restoration as we showed you. The bottom line is that windows are not a thermal unit. Everybody thinks that they have to replace their windows for energy efficiency, and a window has glass in it, and it is not like an insulated wall. The Department of Energy says that your windows in your building or your house only makes up 10% of the energy footprint of your house. That's 10% of your energy cost. And that's unrestored with no weather stripping and no putty and falling out and the ropes broken off. If you do the repairs or the stabilization or replace the parts that need to be replaced by local woodworking companies, you're going to be money ahead, you're going to be culturally ahead, because the look of your historic house matters, and windows are a major feature of your historic house. So keep your old windows if you can, and if you can't, or they're gone, go to a local or regional woodworking company, and they can make windows with true divided lights, real wood muntins that will look appropriate for your old house. I'm Bob Yapp for the National Park Service.
This has been a presentation of the National Park Service with Bob Yapp. For more information about this and many other preservation briefs, go to www.nps.gov.